Hello, everyone, and welcome to this conversation presented by White House Custom Color. On one end, you have an economic crisis, right?
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you have this health crisis, right? And of course, they're both happening at the same time. But what I'm talking about is, where do you say, all right, everyone can either shut down completely, or all right, everyone can go back to work? Because at some point, if you don't do one or the other, there's massive ramifications on the other side, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's interesting because I've been having a political identity crisis for the past 2 weeks.
Well, everybody has, right?
It's like with a stimulus, I'm like, suddenly I'm a socialist. Holy crap. You know?
But
Yeah.
who's going to be like, no, I don't want any of that money?
Well, I think I truly believe that are you recording right now? Because why not?
Yeah, I've been recording since you popped on.
Because at this point, I mean, I feel like the people that aren't going to get money are the ones that just didn't ask for it. And unfortunately, those will be the ones that will probably not be very educated on the matter.
or I don't know, they didn't need it, or they really are putting their flag in the ground and saying, no, I'm not going to take money because I don't think anybody should. There's all kinds of different variables there. I am fascinated by things on a lot of different levels, because on one hand, we're going through this really difficult time for so many people, right? Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, like what you said is you find yourself thinking, what should I think? How should I feel? Yes. Right?
Yep.
And you pair that with whatever you believe your ideology was before this. But at the same time, there's a lot of conflict sometimes internally when you're like, oh, well, other people that I'm supposed to think like aren't thinking the way that I feel, and I disagree with them. Like, I've already had these conversations with some family members where they're fired up on one hand, and I'm like, I don't think that way at all.
In psychology, we call it cognitive dissonance.
Dissonance. Yeah, the dissonance thing. Right.
So they're going to take their thoughts and form them, mold them into what they're comfortable with. Like, it's a lot of the reasons when someone is killed. Here we go on with the murders. What is it? When someone is killed, I know. But like, what was that person doing at that time? Were they out at a bar? Where they shouldn't have been? Were they drunk?
Right.
Well, maybe they should.
Right.
And so you think, oh, well, I'm going to make that look like that because I don't do those things, so I'm not going to get killed. Right. And it's kind of like what's going on right now is like, well, what should I be? You know what? I saw a really interesting thing the other day, and it was a Republican talking about this exact situation. And he said, listen, Republicans are all about freedom and less government. And he said, I cannot think of anything more Republican than a complete and utter countrywide shutdown, because this virus is our war. This virus is threatening my freedom. It is threatening my livelihood. It is threatening my life. And I want to get it done and over with. Like, let's be done. And I was like, that's an interesting way to think of it.
That's all true. That's all true. Yeah. And at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, isn't this also a time where you just throw all that stuff out the window anyway? Like, the second that you really start getting wrapped up in whatever your political ideology is the very second that you've already lost. Yep. Like, toss that. Yep. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there's so, like, I did a podcast interview, and it was so very doom and gloom. Like, I even used the words financial apocalypse in it. And in my head, I was like, what have you just done? But then you've got to be realistic though, too. And I feel like a lot of people in our industry are like, oh, this is going to be over in 2 to 3 weeks and everything's going to be fine. And I'm like, I don't really understand what's happening here.
Well, I think it's extremely short-sighted and very tone-deaf to say that even now, because there's a lot of people that already aren't okay, right? Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think it's ridiculous to say, oh, even if this is done, and let's say it is done in 3 weeks, let's say by some beautiful miracle it is done. I don't think it will be, but let's say that it is. There's already people that aren't okay today. And another 2 or 3 weeks is just going to continue to crush so many people.
Well, and especially for photographers, we're not thinking about the extensive ramifications. Like our clients may not have the money. All of my clients are oil, like most of them, and they are usually making hand over foot, like just cash. They don't know what to do. And now, have you gone to a gas station lately?
I haven't.
Yeah. I haven't in 3 weeks, but I hear they're like it's like $1 here, basically. And so it's going to be an issue when we come out of this.
So how do you draw, where do you draw the line? I'm all about drawing lines. I feel like I've been saying that so many times, but where do you draw the line between realism and positivity? Because yes, it's important to be realistic. I think it is, right?
Yes.
And not to like put yourself into this denial piece where everything's okay and we're all going to be fine. But also optimism right now is extremely important as well, right? You want to be realistic and optimistic, don't you? I'm asking.
Yes,
you don't want to be pessimistic.
I don't want to be pessimistic either, but I'm also like, my greatest fear in life is being blindsided in any shape or form of the word, financially, relationship wise, business wise, because that is when you have to start operating and making decisions out of fear. And I do not want that to happen, because that is a horrible situation to be in, which most of our industry is in right now. They are making decisions
from a reactive standpoint as opposed to a proactive standpoint.
Yes.
Sure.
And I would rather want to know what's my worst case scenario. I want to know if this goes on for 6 weeks. I want to look at my finances and say, okay, is this something that I can handle? Because if not, I need to start making decisions today. But now I think being hopeful is okay. Like, I hope that this is done. And, as soon as possible. Yes, even Easter, whatever. But like, if you want to hope that, that's fine. But I also want to, and that's just my personality. I'm that kind of girl. Give me the worst case scenario. Like,
so is it hope for the best, prepare for the worst?
100%.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
What are you doing to prepare for the worst? We don't even have to say what the worst is. We don't have to do that.
No.
Also, because the worst is going to be different for different people.
Yes.
So let's just call it this ambiguous, the worst.
Yeah.
What are you doing to prepare for the worst?
So, oh gosh, I'm just on the cusp of preparing. Last week was not a good week for me, Jed. Listen, I was not even functioning last week. And I think that's important to talk about mental health right now with photographers, because we're creatives and we use our emotions to inspire us and things like that.
Yeah.
A lot of us are not okay.
Right.
Last week, I was not going to bed until 2 a.m., sleeping until 9 or 11, glued to my phone, glued to the news, and I would cry for no reason. It was not a great situation.
I think you had a reason.
Well, yeah. But I've learned, okay, I don't have my phone by my bed right now. I usually don't, but I had moved it there because I was finding myself, when you wake up in the middle of the night to like roll over, I would grab my phone to see if and I was like, no, got to stop it.
I enacted downtime for the first time ever. Do you know what that is?
Yes. Isn't that amazing?
I did it. 11 to 6, can't use it. 11 to 6, can't use it. And what's interesting is I'm finding out how powerful that is, because there have been many times where I'm not even, I'm not paying attention to the time. I don't even know what time it is right now. And I'm
who knows what day
sort of thinking it's Thursday. I think it is Thursday. But it's interesting. I'll be on my phone and it'll say 5 minutes until I'm like, oh yeah. And normally, who knows how long I would have been on that phone checking things late into the night.
Yeah.
Not just news, I'm into the book. I'm creeping on Insta. I'm doing all the things, but that keeps me up. And right now, I need to have sleep and be healthy to be the best man that I can for my wife, for my kids, for myself, right?
Yep, because that may be the only thing that you can do right now is just get this amount of sleep. and just hang on, white knuckle it.
Okay,
but
so you were a mess last week. What changed? How come you're not a mess this week? Maybe you are. I don't know.
Well, no, I'm okay. I put on makeup today. I was like, I should probably shower and wash my hair for Jed.
I showered. I did.
I don't. People are gonna be like, Amanda Holloway is homeless now. Look at her. She is not okay.
My wife even asked me, "Did you shower?" I was like, "Really? You have to ask? You got to ask?"
Yeah, but I think showering once a day, thumbs up.
Gotta do it.
Give yourself a sticker. I think. And everyone was like, get dressed. And I'm like, I don't get dressed normally. I'm in my PJs all day. So go ahead with that. But like not sticking to your phone constantly. And I even had my very good friend, Dan, we are very political based. And so we text each other like political articles and we're like, oh my God, look at this. And I was like, Dan, we got to stop because I'm falling down the hole. So we found other things. Oh gosh. Yeah. And so, and for me, baking is my therapeutic outlet. And so I told myself, I said, okay, because there are things right now that I can do for 3 hours at a time that will earn me money in the future. And I said, okay, I've got to sit down and work for 3 hours. No TV, no internet. I'm just going to work for 3 hours, create content, whatever you want to do. And then if I do that, I get to bake. So yesterday,
I like eating baked stuff. So if we only lived closer and you could I'd put throw it across my porch.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I made a sour cream coffee cake with brown sugar and pecan.
Did it have icing on it?
Yes.
Did you drizzle some cream cheese icing
powdered sugar. It's like a powdered sugar and milk. And then you just, So very good. A couple days before that, I made banana nut bread. So that's what I do. So find the thing that you find calming and just hang on to it. Like that for me has helped. And staying off of the news and staying off of the internet has helped because it's like you said, it is a hole.
But I think it's interesting that you also went through that phase where you were a mess because I think some people get stuck in a cycle where they're trying to be strong and they're white knuckling it and they're freaking out inside, but trying to put this facade on outside. And you can remain in that state for a very, very long time. But it's like the Serenity Now, the Seinfeld Serenity Now thing where it festers and builds that whole time. Whereas I feel like with you, last week you were a mess.
Yep. Lean into it.
And you wallowed in the mess.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm a mess. And then at some point you're like, you know what? I'm not going to look at my phone as much. I'm not going to do this political crap as much. I'm going to start baking. I'm going to start working. And you intentionally made these decisions, right? Yeah. To change your mindset. And you did that. And you have that week of mourning or grief or whatever it is to kind of, I don't know, kind of jump off of.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that it's actually a form of grief.
It is, yes.
You're grieving normalcy. You are grieving what you thought was going to be the next 3 months, whether financially or feelings, behavior, or what. Your family, your kids are home now. Sweet dear God, baby Jesus. That's a whole new thing. You're going through a roller coaster of emotions. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to take a hot bath at night in candlelight and cry your eyes out. But don't stay there. Now, of course, that comes from a place of emotional privilege that I can say that. I feel like people who are already struggling with depression, this is tough.
Oh man.
And my thing, and I have no problem being transparent. I struggle with anxiety.
Yeah.
And I'm considering going back on meds for it right now. Just right now. Because usually it's something that I can control through my behavior. Yeah. But right now, it's a lot because I am that girl who does want to know worst case scenario, but I do struggle with anxiety. So it's like, it's a fine line to walk.
Well, that's one of the biggest issues with this. One of the biggest issues, somebody said this to me last night too, is like, it's not the fact that it's even the way that it is. It's that we have no idea how long it'll be this way or how bad it'll get. And I'm like, I get it. That's the piece. Because if we knew, you know what, we're going to have 5 weeks we got a lockdown for 5 weeks, and everyone can be on the same page, and we can prepare for that and do that together. But that's not even the thing. We don't know.
And I think a lot of it too is that we have no control. Like we have no control over our business, no control over our income, the society that we're living, like nothing. And I think that, like for me with baking, I can control how much sugar I put in that bowl. And it comes out and I have a good result. Like that cleaning. Some people will clean the crap out of their houses right now because it's something that they can control.
Yeah.
And so if it's healthy,
do it.
If what you're doing is, if what you're controlling is a healthy behavior, why not?
Right.
It's okay.
Exercise. Yeah. Some people exercise right now.
Some people do.
I've heard of them. I've watched them do it. They walk by. They're running.
My friend twisted her ankle last week, and I was like, well, that's what you get for cardio. That's why I don't do it.
That's what you get for working
dangerous, risky.
Oh, man. So what's your message for somebody that's stuck in last week? You came out of it. You came out of it somehow.
Yeah, but that's my personality though. Like it's hard to, if you don't take care of yourself, who's going to take care of your family? Because right now that's who we're with right now is our family members. Most of us, most of us have kids, a spouse. That's something that you can't just self-implode because that's not what your family needs right now. Not to put more pressure on you, but you got to do what you got to do for not, if you can't do it for you yourself, do it for your family. You just got to pull it together.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Real quick then too. Well, it doesn't have to be real quick. Who am I kidding? And this is something that everybody's doing, but I'd like to hear some things from you are like practical, specific business tips. And you're like, oh, this is the time to work on stuff. What are you doing?
I think social media is so important right now. And us senior photographers have a leg up on all the other genres. All the other genres are like, what do we do on Instagram? I don't know. And I'm like, we've been there for like 4 years. We're good to go. Yeah. So we're like eons ahead of the rest of the industry. Usually we're behind, but now it's like, yes, go. And so I think and this is a bold statement, but here's what I think. I think that the businesses that are on social media right now, those are the professionals. Those are the ones that will come out of this okay. If your action is to recoil and not be on social media and not have your face up there and not have them consuming your image and your presence and your brand every single day, if not 3 times a week, they're going to wonder if you closed up shop with everyone else.
Yep. Now's the time to put yourself out there.
Yeah. I think you need to be smart about the way that you do it. You don't want to set any precedents now that you can't continue later.
What's a dumb way to do it? What's a foolish way for me to put myself out there right now?
I think not planned out strategic ways. I think if you just get on and you're like, hey guys, so let's just have an actual content schedule that you want to talk about and that, have a plan. I think that's one of the biggest things.
Put some effort into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think because they're looking at you, you're a business owner. You're not just some friend that is on there talking about nothing. No, you're a leader in the community. You're a business owner. That's what needs to happen. Right. Yeah. I think social media is really important right now. Finance right now. Here's the thing. And I know that I said this on our last podcast that we did and that I got real deep into it. But again, this whole making decisions out of fear, it's a domino effect. So if you were a photographer who lowered your prices or kept low prices because you were scared people weren't going to hire you. Yeah. What is happening now is you're terrified. You could have a lineup of 50 photographers and I could watch what they're doing and I could tell you the ones that never had real income, that didn't price themselves correctly. They're operating now out of fear. So right now we have porch sessions happening. I'm sure you've heard of those.
Yeah.
And I have very strong, which shocker.
I thought you might have an opinion about that.
Yeah. So I posted something on my Instagram and it actually got shared.
You addressed this already.
Oh, 100%. And here's my thoughts. Coming out, like when this was started, a photographer wanted to give back to her community.
Right.
They weren't under stay-at-home orders.
Right.
She could do it, and it was wonderful. Great. Right. Fantastic. Go for it.
Yeah.
Now, what has happened is this has become a community member's grab at free pictures. So they're tagging all of the local photographers. Are you doing this? Are you doing this? I want free family pictures in front of my house. Great. And then photographers who need money because they're broker than broke right now and terrified that they're not going to make any money in the next quarter are doing them, and they're operating on illegal business practices because they're under a stay-at-home order.
Oh, yeah, because they're not supposed to leave in the first place, right?
No.
At this point, sure, yeah.
No, yeah. And P.S., for all of you business owners out there, go check your insurance policy and see what it says about viral issues. It doesn't cover you at all. And so there's so many different reasons why.
Well, also P.S. business owners, and I'm just going to throw this out there like a big softball and kind of play I don't know, I'm not the devil's advocate to you, but I am the devil's advocate to other people right now in that P.S. business owners, free doesn't bring in revenue, right? Like, so I'm not saying I have the answers for this.
Yeah.
But I am saying that, yes, like what happened initially, I thought that was pretty cool. When I read that, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yep.
But at some point, free can bite you in the butt, can it?
Well, and what I'm finding that's very upsetting is that a lot of photographers aren't actually doing it for free. They are giving the watermarked Instagram size.
So they're using it
for free.
So then what's the answer? Just don't do it? I'm not saying I know what the answer is. You're saying just don't do it right now because you're supposed to be home anyway.
Stay-at-home orders, you could be fined and go to jail.
Right. Also, there's a reason for that.
Yes.
Right.
You still have to go to the gas station to put fuel in your car to go all around different neighborhoods in the town. Like, it's not, and plus the moral compass and ethical nature of it all. The government is telling everyone to stay at home, yet for some reason you think it's okay for you to not do that. That's not okay right now. Like,
no, I get that too.
It's not okay.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, and I don't know, we're on tomorrow's day 21 for us. Tomorrow's 3 weeks.
72 billion.
And I am ready to not be at home anymore. But we talk about it every day. And it's just like, we got to keep doing this. We're supposed to keep doing this. We got to keep doing this. You know, there's all these other things that we want to do or could do. We're just not gonna, and it starts to get to you a little bit, but you have to be able to bring yourself around to reality right now.
Yeah. Go outside. I think going outside is important. I mean, now stay home. Yeah, stay home. But like, walk around your little neighborhood, stay 6 feet away from everyone, get outside, get some vitamin D, get in the sun.
Right.
Go have a picnic with your kids, make sandwiches in your kitchen, take a blanket outside, have a picnic, like something where you're outside that you don't feel like you're in a cage. Because it's just it can get dark and real ugly inside your head if you don't get out.
Well, I appreciate the realism. That's what this was for me. This was realism, like a realistic mindset. And I think that's super important right now.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. I think that because I don't want to be doom and gloom and zombie apocalypse and everything.
No. Right.
But I've talked to photographers that are like, well, this will be over by May. And I'm like, no, it's not.
It very well could go much further than that. But again, we don't know.
I think it's going to go through like to June, July.
It could. It very well could.
Because we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. That's the truth of the matter. People are going as full families to the grocery store. And I'm like, what do you keep everyone home? One person goes.
One. One
One.
person. Yeah.
But so Texas just did stay at home orders this week.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's like,
so did Arizona, or at least, yeah, really similar.
didn't
Arizona's
Georgia just shut down after the governor of Georgia just said, well, we just found out yesterday that asymptomatic people can carry it to other people. And I was like, isn't the CDC also in Georgia?
There's that, and they've been saying that for a very long time. So
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I appreciate you, Amanda. I appreciate your perspective. I like what you bring to the table, and I hope people listen.
Me too. If not, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do.
Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this conversation presented by White House Custom Color on YouTube. Be sure to check out our other content and click that subscribe button right there. Right. Right there. It's there somewhere.